and it's Energumen opening up a clear advantage in the closing stages. A breath of fresh air over fences is going to stay at the helm of the 2 mile novices. Energumen by a romping 10-12.
So, hello and welcome back to episode number 7 of the Champ.ie podcast with myself, Barry Doyle. The Golden Groom is in the hot seat again, and Thomas Kyle from Batterstown, County Meath, lads. This time last year, we had the famous Wick Winters as a special guest ahead of Caspian Caviar Gold Cup weekend. Now it's been renamed the Racing Post Gold Cup, and we have Paul Hennessy an interview with Paul Hennessy, who brings Heaven Help Us, another great character of Irish racing. Heaven Help Us runs, of course, in the Unibet hurdle at Cheltenham on Saturday. Lads, great to have you back on the show. This week, I suppose we might as well kick off with the big race at Cheltenham, of course, on Saturday, the 150 at Cheltenham. It is the Racing Post Gold Cup at 150. Golden Groom, come in, talk to me. Who wins the Racing Post Gold Cup?
Well, I might need 2 stabs, Barry, because it's a very competitive race. Again, it's much the same as the Paddy Power Gold Cup was, really wide open. You're looking at, as you said there, kind of 92, 5-1 the field. Look, Lawler is he's coming back. He's trying to go 2 better. He was closing all the way in a Midnight Shadow. He's got a good weight swing with him, and Nichols will fancy that he'll have Lawler better now on his second start for him. I just think he doesn't have much in hand. He's had quite a few goes, Lawler, albeit for his previous trainer at this sort of mark. Hasn't got it done yet. Obviously a huge fan of Nichols, and there's every chance to believe that he could get him to win off this 151. But I was just kind of looking down the field. I thought there was more solid cases at bigger prices. Look, I mentioned a few there that have been kind of sprung in the market this week. Beakstown had kind of high reputation when he was a younger horse. Could be well handicapped off 132. Faranet, as you mentioned, Rachel Blackmore there for Venetia. Could be a real kind of young up and coming horse off 133. He's been well back this season. But I just come back to the winner, the Paddy Power. I just think he's solid. 10-1 Midnight Shadow. As we were just talking off air, kind of looking for the last horse to do the double, Paddy Power and December Gold Cup was Exotic Dancer. Now, he obviously was a right good horse who went on to be placed in Gold Cups. Not really saying Midnight Shadow is that good, but Sue Smith did talk about the King George and for him after he won, and I just think there's value for more than the winning margin there. He came up to challenge Cool Cody. It was a race that you had advantage if you were up front, and he came up to challenge Cool Cody. Probably had his measure when that one came down to the second last, and then he made a mistake himself. I thought he got a bit lonely up the hill, and it's probably value for more. And Protectorat surging on him there, and Lawler. And Protectorats give the form obviously a huge boost. He's now rated 164 after his romp at Aintree. So I just thought Midnight Shadow, £7 higher. I thought he'd be closer to the top of the market, to be honest. And the other one I'm going to mention and have a go on is Fusel Raffles. Now a lot of people look at him and think, oh, he's fierce lucky winner of the Charlie Hall, but I'm actually not convinced he won the one or gone very close to Chamblou, given the big move that he made before the straight. We've talked about Harry Skelton doing that before, actually, and it wouldn't have been a surprise if he tied up a bit Chamblou in the run, and Fusel Raffles came in the way. But more importantly, he's got course and distance form here. Fusel Raffles, he won a couple of novice chases here last season. I think he's on an unchanged mark. He's a 6-year-old. He's won 4 of his 8 starts over fences. Loads of scope to progress. Nicky Henderson, obviously, Daryl Jacob riding. I just thought he'd be a solid case for around 10-1. So I'll take Midnight Shadow and Fusel Raffles and combine them there for a 4-1 92 shot. Dutching, I suppose, that's the angle to take into the race, Barry.
Thomas Kyle.
Sorry,
Thomas, we muted you.
Sorry.
There's a lot of banging going on in the background of the last couple of podcasts. That's why I took it upon myself to mute you, but go on, unmute.
It's a good race. A lot of form ties in from the last stage. Ronan says, interesting that Lawler goes for the first time tongue tie in this as well, which surely will help after 2 wind-ups. Probably deserving enough favour. I like Dostal Phil. He just got hampered midway the last day and probably just got back a little bit further than he wanted, as Roland says. You needed to be handy the last day. He stayed on probably better than most, so he has a chance. Beakstown, he quickly mentioned him. he's well handicapped. He's probably £7 or £8 well in. His 5th place behind Imperial Aura at the Cheltenham Festival in a good handicap probably stands out in handicap means. Didn't have the tongue tie on him the last day. It's come back on him for the weekend, which is interesting. Had probably a nice pipe opener, just gradually faded from the back of the last. So you'd imagine he'll have come on a lot for that. Another one down the bottom. I like CPAJ. Venetia Williams, as you said earlier, horses are flying. Charlie Deutsch he's one of the best riders I think in England at the minute. Very strong in the saddle, and is very good over a fence. Interesting. You would imagine he would have had the pick as he can do lightweights. I see Rachel riding the other one, and it's more fancied. But CPAJ, bar last season starting off in this race, has actually a good record going fresh. Just whatever happened behind Champ Street Lad last year, but he bounced back after that and won next time out. He's a decent horse. He's good form in good races, and that's probably why he is top weight. But the way Venetia's horses are going, he won't be far away at 16 or 18 to 1. I like him, and as I said, I like the Skelton's horse Beakstown. He could be potentially very well handicapped. So they're kind of my two. Even with those, I'll fail if I could have 3, but that's probably being a bit greedy.
I have to say, I think I'd be with Ronan Groom more than I'd be with you now, Thomas Kyle. Some of the ones you're after shouting out there. But anyway, Midnight Shadow. Look, there's 2 in here that I like. Ronan, you mentioned Midnight Shadow. I think he's one of the class horses in the race. I mean, the fact that he even got an entry into King George. But I think exactly as you said, Ronan, I think he was more than value for his win. And, he absolutely made a shuddering mistake at the last when he was 5 lengths up. And I think it probably did knock the stuffing out of him. £7. Look, given the way I suppose he travelled in the race, he travelled right through the race, I suppose, like the best horse. He's a 3 times course winner. And it's kind of that 2.5 mile at Cheltenham is kind of that specialised. It's kind of specialised, and he's been there, done that. Obviously, for his second in this race last year, won the Paddy Power this year, and I just think he's one that could be still improving. He's only an 8-year-old, and Sue Smith's here. I think she's on an 18% strike rate at the moment, which is decent. So he's one. I think, as you said, I thought he would be a shorter price. I can't have this Lawler thing. I did like him as a novice chaser when he won his novice chase at Cheltenham, but he's always just disappointed for me. He's 9-year-old now. I'd certainly be taking him on. And he seemed to get outpaced as well last time, and Paul Nichols spoke about going up in trip. You make a good case for Fusel Raffles. You were nearly talking me into him as a second selection for the race, but I'll stick what I had on paper. Roland Groom, Sarah de Lac for the pipes. Now, the pipe yard isn't absolutely flying at the moment. I think they're on a 9% strike rate. But I've always loved this horse. He's an exceptional jumper of a fence. A 2-time course winner. Won at the festival, of course, over 2.5 miles, and he's only £2 higher. So he went all the way up, I think, up past 150 in the ratings, but he's back down to a mark of 143. He's had a kind of a pipe opener over hurdles. I think he's interesting. And I think there's a possibility he could be laid out for something like this. So the ground will suit as well. So Sarah de Lac for me, I think best price 16 to 1. I like the look of him in this. So there'll be two for me against the field. Midnight Shadow, I think is a big price each way at 9 to 1. And Midnight Shadow said him. Sarah de Lac, 16 to 1 each way. So that's for me.
You having a go at me and saying Sarah de Lac's a good jumper with FU and 7 in his last 3 runs.
FU.
Look, yeah, he's susceptible to one. Look, when you read that out, it doesn't look good. But he's a good jumper of a fence, Tom. He makes ground at his fences.
I'm just having a go at you, lad. Keep you on the ball.
It's okay. We'll see. Next race, the Albert Bartlett. 225 at Cheltenham. Tom, we're going to come to you on this one first because Charles Burns brings Blazing Cal over for this. He's 11 to 8 favourite. Gelino Bello is a 7 to 4 chance for Paul Nichols. Barony Legends 6 to 1. Current Mood 16-1. Ballygriffin College 25-1. And Lochderg Rocco 25-1. Talk to me about this Charles Burns horse.
Yeah, look, he's done nothing wrong. He's going for a 4-timer. He's done it well the last day in Cheltenham. The Galway maiden hurdle form looks good now with him beating Gordon Elliott's horse, Gringo Dabrel, because he's won twice since. He really stuck on well the last day. Look, for a second, he could be bet, but he was well on top of the line ahead of the Nichols horse. Oh, this is actually a very good race. You were on to me about a horse today that won in Newcastle,
Donny Boy. And I'm going to tell you something, that is a talented animal.
Yeah, well, the horse that followed him home in his point-to-point runs in this for Aidan Coleman and Ollie Murphy, Barney Legends. So there's a bit of form for you. I didn't see that today, but I was talking to you for a brief minute and all I could hear was, did you see the first race? Did you see the first race? I didn't see it, but if you're going by that, this horse finished second to him in his point-to-point and has done nothing wrong since he's gone to Ollie Murphy's winning the last day. It's an interesting race, a lot of Irish point-to-point form. It's unusual to see a horse as well, the Skelton's horse, to win 3 point-to-points in Ireland. Usually win one, they're gone. Win a second one, they're definitely gone. But the Hardings down in Cork won 3 times with this lad. He's won well both times. Owen O'Brien rode him the last day and he won well. And Lochderg Rocco, I was actually in Fairyhouse today. He won his point-to-point. He was very impressive. He literally turned the bend and sprinted down to the last. He was visually very impressive that day up in Fairyhouse. Yeah, look, it's a good race. Blazing Cal has plenty of experience. That'd be the only thing around the track as well. Donny McInerney, good to see Donny. He took a break there for a few months and he's back. Seems to have his weight right again and is riding well.
You going to tell us the winner or what?
I'm sticking with the Irish. I think Blazing Cal will just have a little bit too much, but it will be a great race for future chasers in England with them few point-to-pointers that have come from Ireland.
Well, I disagree with you.
No?
I disagree with you, Tom Kyle. Gelino Bella, I think you can reverse the form in here. Look, gets weight this time around, up in trip. I think the softer ground, it was good ground last time, and I think the softer ground is going to suit him. You mentioned the experience for Blazing Cal. I think he's had 5 runs in bumpers. So he does have plenty of racing experience versus his 5-year-old rival here, Gelino Bella. They're both 5-year-olds, but I think the experience probably told the last time. Gelino Bella, I think, is a lovely horse. And I think he's obviously, avoid the cliche, like many of Paul Nichols, is going to be better when he jumps fences. He jumped the hurdles a little bit last time, like he was a chaser. He was pretty big, I thought, over him, but he got better as the race went on. And I think he was probably still learning. I think a step up in trip is going to suit him. Racing, I suppose, a little bit more prominent than he was last time. I think he was kind of mid-division right throughout. And I'd have him now in receipt of £4 on softer ground. And if you look actually at the back of the last, Blazing Cal showed a good sort of turn of foot and quickened away, but Gelino Bella kept that, and he was actually staying on again at the line. So I just think getting the weight, as I said, on the ground, 7-4, second favourite here. I'd take a chance on him now to. In fact, I'd be pretty confident that he could reverse form in here. Rona Groom?
Yeah, I won't take too long on this because I don't have a hugely strong opinion. I won't be having a bet on the race anyway. But Blazing Cal, just that race, just worth noting that they went quite slow there. Current Mood kind of set a steady pace from the front. And this could shape into a similar type of race again, which may well or may not suit Blazing Cal and Gelino Bella coming up in trip. But the form is liable to be questioned, I guess, from that thing. I'm just looking at this race and wondering where all the horses are. It's obviously a ground issue, I guess, but Blazing Cal is going to get 2 goals at a grade 2s in England and have 5 horses to beat each time, and has already beat Gelino Bella and Current Mood. Charles Burns must be rubbing his hands, really. I think he I'd probably take him in the match with Cheltenham Bello again. I thought he stayed on well up the hill, blazing Cal, and had him well covered, and probably outstayed him in the end. If you don't always have to play win in these races. The angle I would be looking into the race would be the current mood and Barony Legends. Like there'd be options there. I think 16-1 current mood against Barony Legends, I think, is around 6-7-1 mark. Like if they were in a race together, take out the front two, you'd have to have them each of two. Really, I didn't think Barony Legends bet much the last day, and current mood was third. Obviously, the Blazing Candida Bell is probably a stronger strain form, so I think the market's kind of looking at that and going, "Oh, you can't beat the top two again." But there is ways to get him on side current mood, like you can back him in the match bet with Barony Legends if bookmaker offers you that, or you could back him top three. So just give people, if you're looking for a way into the race, you don't fancy the favour, you don't want to take a chance on such short odds, there's other ways to get involved. So that'd be the way I'd be looking at on Saturday.
Interesting. So go on, give us a call then. What are you going with?
I don't have a strong opinion. I won't be having a bet on the race. I'll be looking at current mood on Saturday morning and seeing if I can find the way into the race through him.
Okay, 3:00 at Cheltenham, of course, is the Unibet International Hurdle. It's a grade 2. I tell you what, before we give thoughts on the race, let's hear from Paul Hennessy, who trains Heaven Help Us, the Paulstown trainer. Let's see what he says about the Coral Cup winner, Heaven Help Us. So delighted to be joined on the Champ.ie podcast by Paulstown trainer, Mr. Paul Hennessy. How are you, Paul? You're in a hotel in Cheltenham somewhere. A nice little treat, I suppose, as we lead up to Cheltenham, Paul.
John and Michelle live in Thurston, pretty close to Cheltenham. And that was an awful lot that started all this carry on now, bringing her over to race. We've trained greyhounds for them, over the years, and as I say, we've become very friendly, and most of the time, anyway, we'll say Barry. But back in the day, then there was a maiden hurler, we were going to go and run her in a maiden hurler. We decided to come to Cheltenham with her. That was in October 19, and that was just an amazing day. She came over. We were hoping that she might finish the first half dozen, and she went and won. So that kind of started a love affair with Cheltenham and her and everything else. So we ran her back there in the mayor's race in Punchestown about 3 weeks or a month ago, and she was going well. She just took a plough to third last over rather than jumping it, and it cost her big time. But she ran on again, and we were happy enough with her. So we were kind of looking at the mayor's race in Leopardstown at Christmas meeting, and John copped the mayor's race in Cheltenham on Saturday. But she would have to carry top weight and give away an awful lot of weight. But we said if we were going to go over, we'd come over, maybe have a cut at the grade 2 for a bit of fun,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know whether it's a good omen for you, Paul, but this time last year we had this exact weekend. I suppose last year we had Mick Winters on the show, who was bringing over Chatham Street lad, and he went and won by half the track. So you never know. hopefully it might be lucky for you.
Being kind of the passengers in this event with this mayor, it just has taken us to places and levels that we never dream of, and that's been honest with you. And it's just wonderful. And the race that we entered her in, she rated 150 over here in the UK. She wouldn't be out of place in it, even though we just decided rather than giving away a lot of weight, we'd win the grade 2 and have a crack at that. If she was placed, it would be wonderful, and that's still the hope,
Absolutely. You mentioned obviously her Cheltenham record, so she's been over a couple of times. She ran, of course, in the Supreme Novices Hurdle, but she won earlier that season in Cheltenham, and obviously the Coral Cup.
Most people, or at least a lot of people, would dream of having a runner in the Sunderland Hurdle, or that Supreme Novices, as they call it now. You know what I mean? It's the curtain raiser for a whole festival, and an opportunity came for us to run her in it, and we just took off and run her. She was 100-1 in it, but she finished 7th after getting balked a few times. She got troubled in it 2 or 3 times, and she ran great. We were thrilled with her, and it was an exceptional year. Shishkin won it from Abracadabra and all that. You know what I mean? Asterian for Launch, all those brilliant horses were in that race, and she finished 7th and ran well. Like I say, she got impeded a few times, and for that she might well be even being 5th. And then we came back for the Coral Cup, and she just really was bang on the day, and she had a great time with Richie Condon, so she flew for him, and we all had a wonderful time,
In terms of ground, she seems to like the good grabber. What about trip? What about the trip?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything matter to her, because like, she wouldn't have been pointed in the right direction too often, but she seems to make it look like she was pointed in the right direction. She's going on any kind of ground, really. She's won on heavy ground, her bumper in Avon when I probably the best roller took ground was heavy. She won her maiden hurling Cheltenham on soft ground. We ran her in Leopardstown in the Mayor Dublin Festival bumper, which was going to clear nearly summer ground. I wouldn't do that again now, but she's, the ground doesn't matter. And as I say, she won her maiden hurl here over 2 miles. She won her bumper over in Avon, a goodish bumper in Avon over 2 miles. She'll stay, as we know now, up as far as 2.5 anyway with the Curragh Cup trip. So, look at all those good hurdlers over the years, Barry. We watched, going back to Histobrack and all those, and those good hurdlers that Willie had. They're able to win over 2.5 miles, but get there to come back to 2 miles, and they're very strong animals at that. And I hope she has enough pace for it. I think she will. I think she's fine. It was a good race, well-run race. I think she'll give a good account of herself. I hope she does anyway. She raises her game the day of a race. Other than that, she's lazy out at home, and they'd be working with something else. You'd be taking another horse. God, we have another good horse. But like herself, she'd be holding on to maybe a stone. That kind of a way. She'd be looking like she was doing what she was, giving her her best. She wouldn't be at all. She comes alive in her race.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, look, I wish you the very best with her this weekend. It's going to be fascinating to see her running again, Paul. And I suppose long term for the season ahead. I mean, the fact that she's versatile in terms of trip, like I'm sure she's loads of options. Have you anything kind of concrete in your head?
She's there hovering around 144 at home. And that's about it. That's the size we can aim for. She's rated slightly higher over here, but it doesn't make any sense. It's the same horse. But, she could be lucky. Black Tears did it. She went and won the Curragh Cup, or second Curragh Cup, wasn't it, and won the Mayor's race. So
yeah.
You never know. But look at it, it's not even about winning, Barry, to be honest. If we can come over and be competitive, that's as much as we can hope for now. Winning the Curragh Cup was a bit of a miracle with her, and if we just come over and hope we're competitive, and if she runs well and gives it her best shot, which she nearly always does, well, then you can't ask for any more than that,
Yeah, so brilliant to hear from Paul Hennessy, one of the great characters. As I said, we'd Mick Winters on ahead of the Caspian Caviar Gold Cup weekend last year. This year, of course, we have Paul Hennessy. So great to catch up with Paul, and I wish the team well this weekend. Roland, when I told you we were getting Paul on the show earlier on this morning, you seem to think that this mare has a decent chance on ratings here.
Absolutely, yeah. I think she's been underrated by the market completely. She's 150 in England, and that's a good 150 because she won the Curragh Cup off market for 138 by 9 lengths. So you kind of have to have her at that rating. People look at her first run and think she's only finished 6th in the Mayor's Hurdle at Punchestown. Well, she absolutely walloped the second last there, lost all momentum and kind of ran on in the straight. So I think you can excuse that run. She's 2 from 2 at Cheltenham. I wouldn't worry at all about her coming back down to 2 miles. She beat Master Debonair, who you used to cream yourself about, Barry, a lot back in the day, over 2 miles. And Heaven Help Us is, she's, as I mentioned, she's 2 from 2 at Cheltenham. And I just think she's getting the weight here. The British hurdles division, I mean, don't mean to sound like a broken record. It's just not that good. I am a big fan of Song for Someone. He won that race. He won this race last year, but they all finished in a heap. So Roy was 4th, and it kind of just illustrated the kind of lack of talent really in the British hurdles division. If you want to back those horses, So Roy, they're going to give you a run for your money. They're rock solid, but I think why not have a flyer here? Heaven Help Us, the double-digit prices. Danny Mullins going over to ride, getting the weight, and it just wouldn't shock me at all if she ran a huge race. So Heaven Help Us for me, yeah.
Yeah, well, I suppose we talk about the mayor's allowance now, Thomas Coyle. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on this. Some say that the mayor allowance isn't fair. What's your thoughts? I've muted you again, have I? Apologies.
It shows you how much he thinks he is, Tom.
Thanks. Making too much noise here. No, well, it's probably not fair if you have a honeysuckle chasing you or sitting upside you. But to be fair, they do kind of need a kind of in races like this. Obviously there is the exceptions of mares that we like, Honeysuckle, Apples, Jade, going back. I do like the mare, and she was a gutsy winner in the Dublin Racing Festival in Cheltenham, but I just think this could be a bit short for her. I know Ronan said she's coming back. I don't know. I just think it's a bit short for it. And as you say, the English division is very weak. When you see a horse like Paddy Adam thrown in here from going chasing, and if you look at his form on his last run, it probably wasn't too bad, because Buddy Rich has enhanced the form a good bit on his chasing. Well, you can say his chasing debut. He fell at the first day. He didn't really get too far. But there's more questions to be asked. So Royal, he had a hard enough race in Newcastle only 2 weeks ago. It's kind of hard to see him come back 2 weeks later and pitched in another race like this. The others they're decent handicappers, but they shouldn't really be up to this. The one I fell on was Song for Someone. As you said, won the race last year. Was second to Buzz, the talking horse, and Nicky Henderson's the last time. It's just there's too many question marks for too many horses, and he's rock solid in this kind of grade. So he'd be kind of my pick. But it's very interesting that Henry has pitched Ballyadam in here. He's not doing that for the good of his health. So he's obviously seen, as you could say, a niche in the market where the English aren't that strong. But he'd have to come back to something like his Leopardstown form, where he was 2 lengths behind Appreciated, and that he needs to come back to that. As we always thought, looking at him, he was going to make a big fine chaser. But it's interesting that he's stepped him back down and into this grade. So look, you have to take that. You have to take a lot of meaning into that, what Henry's doing. But Song for Someone for me.
Yeah, looking at Song for Someone, considering I suppose his record at Ascot, I suppose fresh, going into the race last time, I was actually quite kind of surprised that he took such a drift in the market. He took a bit of a walk, didn't he, Ronan? We fancied him, and he took a kind of a massive drift. So I think, to be honest with you, he's probably quite short here. So 9-4. I know he ran well last time. Guard Your Dreams was in there as well, but I think Ronan, again, you're making a bit of sense here. We tend to be agreeing a lot lately, but heaven help us. I think the Irish hold the aces in here between Ballyadam and Heaven Help Us. I think both have scope to, I suppose, Heaven Help Us. Obviously, her on ratings, she's banged there, getting the mayor's allowance. She's had a run. Speaking to Paul, he thinks he has her fit. Ballyadam, on the other hand, if you look at it, I suppose he's rated 148. Again, he gets weights from, I suppose, his more experienced rivals here, Song for Someone and Score Royal. I think the two of them, in terms of potential to improve, coming into a race like this, I think 6-1 Ballyadam, Heaven Help Us 14-1, best price on both. I don't know. I'm not absolutely mad strong on either of them, but I think as a way into the race, I think maybe if you couple the two of those, I think the Irish will win this race. That's my view on it. I just couldn't have, Score Royal. Tom, you make a good point about him. He's had 3 races now this season. He drifted last. I suppose the ground turning good to soft at Newcastle wouldn't have helped him. He ran a credible race again, but for me, we've kind of been speaking about Score Royal nearly every week. He's been out so much. I'd be thinking the Irish. Two Irish horses at good prices in here. That's what we might play. A couple of the Irish in the Unibet. Lads, we're going to come to Doncaster. They have the big juvenile hurdle race. I'm just going to pull up the card here in the betting. So it's a grade 2 juvenile hurdle, Bet365 Summit at 240 at Doncaster. The favourite is Gary Moore's Porticello. We all know his record with juveniles, 2-1. Magistrato for Paul Nichols, Bridie Frost is a 4-1 chance. Night Salute 5-1. Two Friendly 7-2 for the Skeletons. Impulsive One, James Bowen, Nicky Henderson 8-1. Sacre Pierre 12-1. Khaleesi 28-1. That's kind of a quick show of the betting. The Golden Groom. Do you know what? I'm going to come in here first because I love this Porticello. I absolutely loved. Look, he beat Magistrato in France, but this is a big raw baby. Obviously, he's only a 3-year-old, but this thing is very raw now. If you were to see the way he won at Wetherby last time, he went off 60, well supported, 6-4 favoured, but done absolutely everything wrong. Jumped like a chaser at one hurdle. The next time he kicked it out of the ground, he was green. But I don't know, did he even get a smack? Was hands and heels, and done everything wrong and got up to win by 3.5 lengths in the end. I thought he was snug. He'd probably come on an awful lot for it. Magistrata was more professional, I suppose, on both starts, but and gets a bit of weight here. But for me, Porticello, given natural to do what he done, to come out and win like he did, for me, he's obviously going to come on for that run, and given his size and scope, I think he'd probably come on for the run in every way here, experience wise and fitness wise. I quite liked him here 2-1. What about you?
I just knew you were going to say Porticello for Gary Moore. You a huge fan. I bet you have posters up in your room of Gary Moore or something. Don't you? You love a Gary Moore juvenile / novice hurdler.
Pet and goat.
Yeah. Look, geez, he did it nicely. Wetherby, as you said, Barry, I just wouldn't be touching any sort of juvenile hurdler at 2-1 in a race like this. None of the main contenders. I don't think any horse in the race has more than 3 runs.
Gary Moore absolutely loves this horse, by the way.
I'm sure he does. Yeah, look, if that's your thing and you think he is the horse you think he is, then maybe you'd be playing a 2-1. Just wouldn't be for me. It's just all of his rivals are open to plenty of improvement, like Magistrato, just on the run with Night Salute there. Came to win his race. Magistrato got a lovely spin up the inside. Harry Cobden did. You think he's going to go and win from there and just didn't get up the hill. Maybe this track will suit him more. He also has a 6-pound swing with Night Salute as well. So I can see why he's ahead of him in the market. The Skeleton horse was a nice winner at Newcastle, I think it was. And Impulsive One has had the old wind up already, which is interesting. Must be one of the most earliest wind up for a National Hunt horse you'd see. But he was second at Kempton the last day to Night Salute as well. So we wouldn't rule out him finding the improvement. It's not a race for me for a bet, but I'll be looking on in interest to see if this Porticello was the horse you say he is. Barry Doyle.
Okay, let's talk. I suppose, anything else either side of the Irish Sea this weekend. Anything else, I suppose, in your tracker or worth mentioning? Thomas Kyle, start with you. First innings.
Yeah. It's unusual just to have the one meeting in Ireland this weekend, but there's one horse that I've been keeping an eye out for. Tony Martin horse called Explosive Boy. Seamus Ross owned. Good to see Seamus back with a few horses. He was a big owner back in the day. This horse has some good maiden hurdle form behind U-Tread and horses like that. A rating of 109 is probably lenient enough. The thing that I've copped with him, he's had so many entries lately, and this is where he pops up. So obviously he's been waiting for ground or whatever. So look, I think he'll take all the beating. Just one horse he'd probably have to beat, and I know Ronan has been looking out for, and she's a reserve, is I See the Moon. She has that form behind Lucky Max, who has been a revelation. He scooted in Cork again the other day. So I'd be hoping that she doesn't get in if you were going to go for Explosive Boy. But he's the one of real interest for Fairyhouse on Saturday.
The Golden Groom, second innings.
Yeah, I've got a few to mention, Barry. Just 3.15 at Doncaster. He's been well backed already, but I think there could be a bit of juice in his price still. Colo Rico, Runs in the Bet365 handicap chase. I think the angle into him that people are seeing is his record on a seasonal debut. He's won twice, finished fourth in the Paddy Power last season, and before that, the seasonal debut was second in the Peterborough Chase, a grade 2, which was huge run. He was second there at 100-1. He's down to a mark of 138 on a seasonal debut here and his first start up and trip. No, it's actually his second start at 3 miles. He won his first one. He won a listed chase up at Kelso, and he's off 138 here, first time out. Probably well handicapped. Probably going to be at his absolute best. And this race, I thought looked a bit soft with a few horses going down to Cheltenham and stuff like that. There's only about 8 runners. 2 for Gold is top of the market there, having his first run of the season as well. So I like Colorico. It's about 8-1. I still think there's a bit of juice in that. Over Fairyhouse, I did the preview for that. I do like what Tom said about Explosive Boy. I think he could go very well. Another one I'll mention is Gareth Dassault. Makes his debut over fences in the beginner's chase at 12 o'clock. He's one of my novice chasers to follow for the season. I think he could be very good. Takes on Statler there, so it should be a good race. And then Dubai Devils in the 247. He's 18 pounds lower over hurdles. And he runs over hurdles here after a decent enough run at Down Royal over fences. So both of his wins have come at Fairyhouse as well. There's only 2 career wins. So he made a lot of appeal for me in the 247, the handicap hurdle there. And if anyone is listening to this on Friday, I think the old boat Santini can go very well. He's 8-1 in that handicap chase. First start for Polly Gundry. He's 13 pounds lower than he was when he was finishing second in the Gold Cup off 172. So I think he's been given a chance. And for your favourite trainer, Botox has... for Gary Moore, Barry in the last race at Cheltenham on Friday, I think he could be very good. Nice horse up and trip, 3 miles, could be well treated. So long list there for people, horses to avoid probably, but I think that they're the ones I'll be backing this weekend.
Yeah, I like Carter Dudery at Cheltenham on Friday, so tomorrow, as we're recording, 12:05. Look, he was mightily impressive. I thought he'd done a lot right. Clattered the last out of it, but was hands and heels. This horse could be cut for something like a Supreme Novices Hurdle. I think he's 33-1 at the moment, long term for that anti-post. But I think he's an exciting horse, and I think he's a worthy favourite, 6-4 tomorrow. Sporting John, another JP horse, massively impressive. Back over hurdles in a handicap. I think he's gone up £5 in total. If he wins this, he's a stairs contender. 15-8, worthy favourite. And I'd be on the JP double at Cheltenham tomorrow. Majorly exciting. Didn't even get a smack, I don't think, last time. Off the back of the last. And he's major scope to improve. JBY, I'm very interested to see him on second start over fences. He disappointed me. Didn't think he jumped brilliantly, but I think he's better. I think he's a horse with a fair engine. This JPY. I liked them all last year for Alan King. Interested in him, and also Winhouse at 7-1 in the handicap for Alan King also. And just a fifth one to mention over the weekend, Papa Tango Charlie is entered as we're speaking here in Carlisle again. I think that's a horse that we're going to see in graded company before the end of the year. Be interested to see if he goes, but he was mightily impressive at Carlisle last time as well. So that's Papo Tango Charlie. It's nap and MB time. Thomas Kyle, I don't know what all the noise is in the background. Is the mother doing the washing?
No, there's no one even in here, lad.
Nap and MB. Let's go. Golden Groom.
Yeah, Nap, go for the Colorico 315 Doncaster, just like the angle first time out. And NB, I'm going to throw in the mare, Heaven Help Us. I think she's well overpriced at around 12-14-1. So take a flyer on her.
Big prices, Ron. There'll be a bit of work to do to catch me after last week. I must say I landed the Nap and NB. Thomas Kyle was laughing at me with Grenadine, and he drifted to 12-1 and absolutely bolted. Edward Stone as well. So it was a great week for me. I'll save mine to last. Tommy Kyle.
My Nap is Explosive Boy. Good maiden hurdle form behind Blazing Cal and Uhtred. 3 runs in a month, 5 weeks off into handicap off 109. Looks nailed on if he can. And my MB, I'm going to go against Ronan. I'm going to go for Song for Someone.
Ooh.
I think think, look, winner, track, trip. He'll be my MB.
Okay, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to have the nap landed by Friday afternoon. I'm going to be sitting with my glass of wine up, waiting for the MB to run on Saturday. Sporting John is going to win. I'm going to put him up at 15-8. He's going to win the 3 mile handicap at Cheltenham on Friday with a bit of luck. And we'll have a stayer's horse on our hands for the Road to Cheltenham show. And Sarah Delac, right? I was between the two. Which would I put up? I'm a believer in this horse. And the pipes and a big handicap at Cheltenham. This horse, as I said, he's down to a mark of 143, just 2 pounds higher than when he won at the Cheltenham Festival. And Thomas Coyle, I think he can jump. So let's hope he can serve it up to them.
F.U.
Yeah,
16-1.
More
16-1
letters than numbers, lad. You want to be staying away from riding them yokes.
Yeah, with a bit of luck. Okay, Sarah Delac, 16-1 NB. So Sporting John 15-8 nap. Let's hope we come back last week up. And lads, next week I probably won't be on the show. As in a couple of days till I get married. So any advice anyone want to give me?
We can't help you, mate. We're not even close to that.
Go through with it anyway, because we're looking for a day out in you. So
the Christmas special.
Yeah, don't shit the dogs, Baz.
What's that?
Don't shit the dogs. We need the day out. We need a few days.
9 days to go. So looking forward to that. And of course, we will be announcing a date for our Christmas special as well, where we'll have the majority of the gang back. Of course, Mike Vince, Davy Boland, and let's get the full band back together for a Christmas special. Lads, a pleasure. That was episode 7 of the Champ.ie podcast for the season. Thanks to Paul Hennessy, Roland Groom, Thomas Coyle, and everyone as well who's getting involved in both shows, the Road to Cheltenham on the Monday and the podcast on the Thursday. Lots of interaction last week in the comments. So the tracker is below. Get in your nap and MB for the weekend. Keep a track of your score. I'm gone well into the green after last weekend. Ronan Groom, you're being lazy. Put it into the comments. Track your results. Thomas Kyle the same. And everyone else that listens, thanks very much. Please do subscribe to the show. And I'm off for pizza.
Inside the final 150 yards, this is a special year. And it's a hands full of grace. And it's Energumen opening up a clear advantage in the closing stages. A breath of fresh air over fences is going to stay at the helm of the 2 mile novices. Energumen by a romping 10-12.